So Nintendo, they fucked up the marketing for Pokemon Let's Go. Why? Well, they went with, look, you can connect your Pokemon with Pokemon Go and transfer them and then play with them in Pokemon Park. Also, we are gonna remove all held items and, well, no more Pokemon abilities either. And also we'll remove all the Pokemon except the original ones. That's what you want, right? Nostalgia, right? Oh boy. Oh boy. So the implication and the impression that Nintendo gave us was it's gonna be a super easy game, no more difficult catching Pokemon, as if that wasn't easy enough already. I didn't even want to buy the game, but then I did anyways. The thing is, bringing back Pokemon to its purest form actually has an upside. It's Pokemon at its purest form, and the game didn't end up being as super easy as I thought it would be. And that was a huge positive. So, hey guys, I'm Kaisernik from Red Valley Gaming, and today I welcome you to Value Review, where we ask ourselves the question if Pokemon Let's Go is really worth its price. And god, I do kinda miss saying that. Basically, Nintendo set out to make a Pokemon game that is more easy and more easily accessible to new players. And after playing the game and considering it from the perspective of someone who is actually a newcomer, let's consider this situation. Hey look, you just start Pokemon Sun and Moon and then you fight a Magnemite. Now, Magnemite has a type of Steel Ground, ability Sturdy. What does it mean? Well, first of all, you don't know what kind of types it has, so you don't know what moves you should use against Magnemite. And then second, once you figure it out, use a Ground type move, because that's super effective, right? Then it turns out, wait, why didn't it die in one hit? Well, that's because of its ability Sturdy. You know, Sturdy means that a Pokemon can't get one hit KO'd. It will have at least 1 HP remaining after a move when it gets attacked from full HP. With the amount of abilities that there are, the amount of types that there are, this is confusing to a new player. So Nintendo is in a way right to create a Pokemon game that is kind of Pokemon but a bit easier, and thus bring it back to its original roots. So this game isn't something that is for the programmers, and Nintendo even announced already that the next Pokemon game of 2019, that one will cater to the programmer. So it's fine for there to not be a Pokemon game for the hardcore gamer, this year. It's because it's catered towards somewhere else, and we have to accept that not all games are made for us. Well, that is the precedent that I kind of want to set with this review. This game is not for us, but let's see what it does well and what it does poorly anyways. Thing is, it still didn't end up being so easy, because it became quite a lot more challenging later on, especially since you don't have held items and you don't have abilities. You can't use them either. Your opponents can't and you can't use them. That means there is still challenge in a simple fighting system, because now you have to think back to the older rules. What mattered with the older rules, and how do you take the maximum strategy out of these older rules and make something challenging with it? But what happens is the game is very, very easy at the start. You get your Pikachu, catch a couple of Pokemon with a new Pokeball mechanic, and well, I don't personally like it, but then again, this game is not made for me, so no worries here. But you do that, you get leveled up really quickly, and I thought, oh my god, this game is gonna be easy. But eventually this didn't end up being the case so much, because later on you didn't get as much XP for catching Pokemon, and the enemies, well, they will fight back. For example, you get Dig quite early in the original games, just after the second badge. Quite a powerful move. A ground type move like Dig is very effective against poison types, but the game is now changed, the mechanics is now changed. For their move Toxin, or I think it was Toxin, it was some sort of poison move. I think it was Toxin. I don't know, I was playing the game in Japanese. Toxin hit the Pokemon even while it was underground, so just using Dig to kill poison Pokemon unscathed, that's not exactly easy, because they will poison you and you will take damage, eventually forcing you to either have your Pokemon faint or have it switch out. So there were a lot of these kind of small challenges put into the game that don't make it as a cakewalk as I originally thought. Let's move over to the new catching mechanic, because that's one of the biggest selling point of the game. Let's catch Pokemon like we did in Pokemon Go, because that's what we want, phone mechanics put into the game. Well, as it turned out, it was actually quite engaging at the very start. You know, it was a bit different, just, you know, throwing the ball, whatever, wild battles, all not that important. But yeah, it was gimmicky. It's gimmicky, it became boring later on. It became tedious as well, and considering Nintendo doesn't even give you options on how you do it. Basically, if you want to just use normal controls, standard controls, you have to use portable mode. It's insanity. You can't even use a Pro controller. When you sit down, you are forced to throw the Pokeball. That's just idiotic. Nintendo, seriously, no, it's not Nintendo, it's Game Freak. Game Freak, come on, don't be so weird. Overall, The catching mechanic itself, no thanks. I don't want that. I mean, I can see why Nintendo did that. No, not Nintendo, Game Freak. I need to stop blaming Nintendo for Game Freak's faults, Game Freak's fuck-ups, because Game Freak is actually an individual company that is not owned by Nintendo. They actually made games like, there was this Badass Elephant game, also I think, that they published through Sega and didn't even release on a Nintendo console. Game Freak is not a Nintendo developer, not exclusively. Going on, Game Freak isn't a very strong developer, and more on that later on. They are not very good on the technical side. I will get to that later on. So the Pokemon Go throwing mechanic, no thanks, I don't want that. It's poor, it's gimmicky, just let me have my own catching Pokemon again. But the other change that they made to the mechanic, no more random battles. The Pokemon pops up in the overworld, you have to go towards it and pick it up, and that is absolutely awesome. No longer do I dread going into a cave or on the water and have to fend off all the Pokemon that wanna get to me. No more of that. Now, if I see a Pokemon, I can go up to it or not, and sometimes they run into me. Well, sometimes you can't avoid it, but it becomes more skill-based. That is something that has really great potential for future. I mean, it was epic having a Gyarados pop out of nowhere and then being able to go up to it and catch it. But this mechanic has an incredible potential for future. Let's just take this scenario. You go and want to go and find a rare Pokemon. But this rare Pokemon, well, doesn't let itself catch easily. So what you might have to do is something like in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. You have to sneak up to it properly. Or in a way in Gold and Silver, that weird bird in the forest. Yeah, which you have to kind of trick into running into your trap. No, that's the kind of mechanics that they implement now in the future games. No longer do you have to bother with random battles anymore. In the future, this mechanic could have you track Pokemon and then being able to battle them afterwards. You know, in a proper wild battle, is that reward already? And then catch it through standard means. That would be freaking awesome. Seriously, Game Freak, that is a huge potential for the future of the franchise. And when you go into like a proper 3D overworld, let's just say Pokemon eventually evolves into this GTA-like world where you can walk in and interact with everything and have Pokemon spawn in the world. You kind of have to start putting out that kind of system. You have to have the Pokemon living in that world. And that is another big point that was so awesome. The world was suddenly so alive with Pokemon. It was great seeing the Pokemon populate the world. And it was great being able to interact with them. That felt awesome. The world felt more alive than ever before. But likewise, when you go for them 3D, Pokemon will eventually go to that point. Well, at least I hope so. I mean, it's taken Game Freak quite some time. If it gets to that point, they have to do such a mechanic anyways. You can't just have Pokemon randomly spawning while you walk. Oh, I'm just walking around and oh boy. You can't just have a random spawn in like a 3D world. It's just off-putting. It's an old mechanic that comes from traditional JRPGs when processing power of the devices wasn't big enough to have stuff popping up in the world. That's where it comes from. That's a remainder that Game Freak still has and still implements of these age-old mechanics that come from bad technology. Get rid of the random battles is well done, Game Freak. That was a great idea. And I hope they implement that into the actual next core Pokemon title. But yeah, in terms of the world feeling alive, what I noticed is they implemented quite a bit more cutscenes into the game, and that was cool. That was dope. And you seeing your character, your customized character in a cutscene, well, the cutscenes look pretty good actually. They are full HD. Well, I don't know, full HD. It's like it's NHD in resolution. I don't know if it's full HD. It's definitely not 4K. They made Pokemon Let's Go more accessible to a younger audience, kids and stuff, you know. And one thing that I noticed that they added in the game is being able to play with Eevee or Pikachu. Well, in my case, Pikachu, because I bought Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. You know what? You're able to play Pikachu, you're able to dress it up. I got the Team Rocket outfit and dressed myself and my Pikachu in the Team Rocket outfit. And the game kind of got a little bit funny. It seemed like I'm a double agent each time I tried to infiltrate Team Rocket. And whenever I fought Giovanni, it was like, hey, dude, what's my next mission, Giovanni? What's my next mission, Giovanni? Oh, you're testing me, Giovanni. Yeah, that's right. But this dressing up of yourself and Pikachu and then being able to play Pikachu by hitting on the touchscreen or wiggling its tail, it's not exactly engaging for a core gamer. But, you know who fucking loves it? The kids fucking love it. The kids are like, fuck yeah. I can play with Pikachu, Pika, or Eevee, and it's so cute. And I can feel it berries, oh my god. And that's who that mechanic is for. It's like Pikachu is now fully your buddy, and it's a fully alive partner that goes on an adventure with you. And that is something they nailed really well in this game. While that mechanic isn't particularly interesting to a core gamer, we want some really core, good gaming content that is challenging gameplay, an engaging story, and none of that cutesy bullshit. Well, it's not bullshit, but you know what I mean. If it is Game Freak's mission to make Pokemon more accessible to a younger audience, I think they're actually doing a really good job with that in this game. Oh, by the way, I've not been a regular uploader on this channel anymore because, quite frankly, I haven't been enjoying reviewing games all that much. But I played this game and I thought it would actually be a cool idea to just review it. I enjoyed playing it, but I'm still active on YouTube on my vlogging channel. They're called The Red Value, not Red Valley Gaming, but The Red Value. Intonation on the Red Value. The Red Value if you're searching in German, by the way. And I make weekly videos. You can check them out. Usually they are uploaded by Tuesday evenings, but just to make sure, you can check out every Wednesday for a new video on that channel. Back to Pokemon. What I want to get into is the engine they use. Game Freak still uses a completely outdated and old engine. So the Nintendo Switch has 4 GB of RAM. Well, 1 GB is reserved for the OS and 3 GB is dedicated to the game. And that's quite a bit when compared to the 3DS that I believe like 10 megabytes. So you have 300 times more memory now on the Switch than on the 3DS. Let's look at what happens when you enter a building in a city. The screen goes dark for multiple seconds. I don't know exactly how much during this recording, but I'm gonna show a timestamp right here. Entering the building was very short. But now, let's get out of the building again. And what you notice now is that this loading time is quite a bit longer. So what is happening here? Basically, Nintendo's engine works in levels. There is no dynamic loading. We have to basically unload a level and go to the next one. And each individual building, the inside of each building is marked as a level. Whenever you enter a building that you have to enter through the same exact exit towards the same exact city, Game Freak unloads the entire city, loads the building, the interior into the RAM, and then once you exit it again, loads it back out and the city back in. And that's insanity. Why? If Game Freak is telling us that they are not able to fit the interiors of buildings into the RAM of the Nintendo Switch when GTA 5 was able, with dynamically loaded interiors, was able to do so with 12 times less RAM than the Switch currently has. The Xbox 360 has 256 megabytes of RAM. The Switch has 3 gigabytes. That the Switch with Pokemon Let's Go is not able to dynamically load the buildings, then I'm gonna call bullshit. Either they're lying to us, they're lazy, or they're just not competent enough. Or they're using a completely outdated engine that they should toss for a new one. Or, well, at least upgrade it to be able to load dynamically. Because that is insane. These 5 seconds, you know, they add up. And they interrupt the flow of the game. It's just annoying. It's like, come on, why do I have to wait? For me, I hate loading screens the most. Now that I'm talking about the engine lags. The game has frame rate issues from time to time. They're not too big of a deal. I mean, it is a turn-based game after all, and the catching usually doesn't have problems, but there are frame rate problems from here and there. And that's incredible. How can they go from a device that is in the 3DS to the Switch and then have frame rate problems all of a sudden? You know, that's just another point in how the engine is just completely out of date and needs to be rewired. Seriously, Game Freak. You can do better, and I want to do better, because I do like Pokemon and I want to continue playing awesome games, but make them awesome. Make them not this typical linear stuff. But anyways, now to the highlight of this review. The thing that matters the most, the value of the game. And oh boy, am I annoyed. Seriously, Nintendo and Game Freak have the audacity for a game that is completely cutting out so much content, because there is so much cut content in Pokemon Let's Go, isn't there? You know, you don't have items anymore. You have like only the original 150 Pokemon and Melton as well, but I haven't found him yet. Well, no items, no abilities. You even cut the story from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Fire Red and Leaf Green had the Savvy Islands, and that made the remake so good, but that isn't in there in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And oh boy, how do they have the audacity to charge $60 for that game when all other Pokemon games before that cost $40 with a much reduced amount of content? How dare they? How dare they charge $60 for that? How? It has greatly reduced content to the previous games, and it costs more. Insanity, isn't it? No, thank you. No thanks, Nintendo. That's a ripoff. You do not charge $60 for that. That is an audacity. So the value of the game, no. Nintendo, no. $30 max. Maybe 35 if you're feeling generous. That's not okay, and that's what the value review is about, to call out that bullshit. Sorry that I don't really post many reviews anymore. It's just unmaintainable for me to do a review a week on YouTube. If you want to be successful, you have to either put out really long videos or put them out very regularly. And I just can't do that with games. I don't want to be forced to play games. And that's why I can't really put out many reviews, and that's why I started vlogging. And I've now created a new channel for my vlogs called The Red Value. I made a choose your own adventure, by the way. Basically, once the video finishes, you look at the end screens and then you choose one of the options, one of the possible options on how the adventure progresses. So if you could check that out, if you like this video, check that video or check that Choose Your Own Adventure out. I could really use your help on this one. I had so much fun making it, and I hope that shows in the videos. But anyways, thanks for watching. I guess that's all. Thank you so much. Check out my Choose Your Own Adventure, and see you next time. Bye.